Welcome back, David Viscott. That's sad, isn't that, Art's call? You know, that earthquake, we all thought about it, and we heard about one person getting killed. When you hear the sound and the person's voice, it just makes it so real. I hope it doesn't get too many of you terrified about earthquakes, but there were 3 today, 3 in the last 3 days. So we always have to know what the heck to do on them.
You know, that was my very first experience with an earthquake. I had just moved out here. It was really scary, you know, to experience that.
And it was strange because we were just talking about that woman a couple of days ago. Who's next?
Okay, we have Jane on line 9, and she is scared of her boyfriend's past.
Jane?
Good morning.
Good morning, Jane. How old are you?
I'm 51. Maybe I'm too old to be calling, but I do have a problem.
Go ahead.
My problem is that the man that I've been seeing now for a couple of years was involved in swinging back in the San Fernando Valley during the 60s. And he has been into B&D, and I don't know how far into S&M. But he talks about these things, and I just get really uptight. It's just something I can't handle.
Well, okay. He talks about them in what way? Under what circumstances?
Well, in a sexual way.
Yeah, but when does he talk about them?
Most of the time when we just, during sex, he compare, you know, he'll say things like, I've had 100 women and you're great, or something like this. I don't want to hear about those other women.
Do you tell him that?
Yes.
And what does he say?
He just says, well, that's part of him. It's part of his life.
Well, but hearing about them is not part of your life, unless...
No, and I don't want to hear about them.
When you say you don't want to hear about them, what does he say?
He doesn't understand.
Do you tell him it hurts your feelings?
Yes, I do.
And what does he say then?
Well, I'm not sure that he doesn't get pleasure from that.
Oh, a little S&M?
Yeah.
So...
Well, he is mentally abusive. Never physically, but I think if I were willing, it would be physical.
Well, you can rest assured that that's true. So why did he give up that San Fernando Valley lifestyle?
Well, he got a divorce.
Just a joke, folks. Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
You got a divorce?
Yes, because his wife wouldn't give up the swinging.
Oh, so he wanted to.
He wanted to give it up, apparently. And then he married another woman who, believe it or not, was a former nun, but who had a child out of wedlock. And then he got a divorce from her. And then I came along, but I'm from a completely different background of anybody. I'm from Georgia, as you can tell. And I had read about these things in textbooks, but I had never been exposed to them at all.
In textbooks?
Well, I have studied counseling.
Oh, I see.
But it was completely foreign to me as someone who really did it.
And when you discovered that he was involved in that lifestyle, how did you react?
Well, I was interested.
Curious.
But not as a participant.
But if you weren't interested in the participant, you must have asked him about it, huh?
Well, he seemed to talk about it all the time.
Okay, but you were curious, right?
I was curious.
And you
yes.
asked questions like, give me a couple of questions you might have asked in your clinical way.
Well, I have never been to a swinging party or anything like that, so I was curious about what they did and how it went on.
And give me an idea of kind of the questions you might ask at that circumstance.
Well, just how many women would you have in one evening? Or he would talk about threesomes. And his ex-wife, his first ex-wife, been involved with another woman, the two women and him.
So you got interested in all of this stuff, huh?
Well, I was interested initially, but after I heard about it, I didn't want to hear about it anymore.
But by then he had already gotten off and sharing the experience.
Yes, and he would ask me to play mistress.
You agreed to play mistress?
No, I tried it once, and it didn't work, and he told me I was horrible. And I've never done it again, even though he's asked me to.
To play mistress?
Yes, and that's just not my bag.
You mean to be a severe disciplinarian?
Well, he says it's playing.
Uh-huh.
And he says things to me like that he would like to tie me up. He would like to hang me from the ceiling. And that's a complete turn-off.
That's love, huh?
No, it isn't.
Not-
I don't know what it is.
It's not how they do it in Georgia?
No, it isn't. That's not the kind of people that I know anyway.
Okay, well, that's the San Fernando Valley for you.
Well, he's in Orange County now. I don't think there's too much of it down here.
You don't.
But maybe there is. Maybe there is.
So what are we going to do, Jane?
Well,
Plain,
I want it to go away.
plain Jane meets Wolfman, huh?
I beg your pardon?
I'm just making up storylines.
He doesn't throw the paraphernalia away.
Oh,
He has that.
his paraphernalia includes what?
Rope.
Rope.
Things I had never seen before.
I can well
You
imagine.
can imagine, yes. And I haven't been curious enough to say, what do you do with all this stuff? But I wish
You
you
are
would throw it away.
Yeah, but you are curious enough.
Well, I was curious enough initially, but
Yeah.
now whenever
It scares you.
it scares me, and I don't want any part of it. There's no question in my mind about that.
Well, the point is it scares him too, and sometimes when people are afraid of things, they try to master their fear by doing the very thing they're afraid of.
Well, will it ever go away?
Will it ever go away?
Yes.
Well, he has been involved in it. There's a certain evil pleasure that he gets from it that makes sex dirty, which makes it exciting for some people. Just like it was exciting for you to hear about a little dirty sex, right?
Yeah, because I'd never heard it before. I didn't even know what the word kinky meant, really.
You didn't know what the word kinky meant, and now you're dating it.
Now I guess I know, but I don't want to know anymore.
But that's who he is, and that's kind of what his yearning is for. And if you said, tie me up in a flash, you'd find yourself all tied up.
Yeah, but I would never say that.
I know you would never say that, but the fact is he's ready to give it a shot.
Oh, I think so at any time. But any overtures for sex, I get so uptight because I'm afraid some of the stuff might come up again.
Well, it will.
And
So,
he's asked me to marry him. And I do care about him, and it would be,
well, the only way you could marry him is if he gave up this kind of fantasy life, but these are the fantasies that give him sexual pleasure. Have you no fantasies that are unspeakable, that sort of titillate you?
no, I'm afraid that I just never have.
You're plain Jane?
No, but I was always the good girl.
Well, I know, but sometimes to make sex interesting, people engage in fantasies. There's nothing wrong with a fantasy.
I don't think I ever did, and if I did, I certainly never shared them with anyone.
Well, that's the whole question, isn't it? See, in some way, although, you know, if a person is loyal to you and loves you and is monogamous, there's nothing wrong with some of these things, as long as they're done mutually and they're games and they make sex interesting. Because, you know, if you're with one person for a long time, sex can get boring. For some people. Love never gets boring, but sex can get boring. You know what I'm saying?
But that shouldn't be scary.
Well, it is scary for you because it involves your belief that it's talking about fantasies that you have never shared. So this is something very new to you.
But he also, when he talks about fantasies, all of a sudden they cross the line over into he wants them to become reality.
Oh, we know that.
Yes, I do know that. And
But
that's,
isn't that the same reason why you don't talk about your fantasies?
well, I would never allow them to become reality.
But you won't even talk about them.
No,
And you won't even share them.
no.
Isn't that interesting? I
In
mean,
what way do you mean?
well, I mean, it means that you're so unsure of yourself that you think merely talking about a sexual fantasy means you'll lose control of it. That's what you believe. I think you can talk about any sexual fantasy you want. And it doesn't mean you'll do it. But what you're afraid is that you'll lose control. That's why sex with him is so scary. It's not that he'll lose control. You're afraid you'll lose control. And what's the worst thing you could do?
Well, I could stimulate him in ways that I don't want.
Why?
Why?
Well, yeah, what if it's totally innocent? What if it's totally innocent between the two of you behind your bedroom door? Who needs to know about anything?
No one needs to know anything about it, but I wish that things were different.
They're not. Do you love him?
Most of the time I do.
What does that mean?
Well, he is an alcoholic, and I don't drink at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Well,
seems that these things are more, when he isn't drinking, he's a very nice gentleman.
yeah, but the point is, an alcoholic is an alcoholic.
I know that, and
And
I can't get it out of my head that I can't change him.
Okay. Maybe he's wrong for you.
Well, I think that's obvious, but I have a hard time leaving him.
Well, then you have to think about why you're there. Because some of the reasons you're there have to do with the security that you're looking for. And you may be choosing someone who's totally wrong for all the wrong reasons. You have to live a life that's right for you. And sometimes you get into situations that are frightening, not because of what the other person suggests, but because of the fears you have about yourself and the fact that you think you're going to lose control. You're stronger than you know, and you don't have to lose control if you don't want to. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.